Welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. We decided to have a special Facebook Live that focuses on last night's 10/10 announcement by President Trump that by executive order, he is going to limit and stop legal immigration to America. What he's talking about here is stopping your ability to bring your wife, your husband, your children, your parents to the United States if you're a U.S. citizen. He's also telling employers, you can no longer bring that specialist you need, that doctor you need, that farm worker you need, the people that you have sponsored and proven to be unavailable in the United States. You can't bring any of those people. You can't bring visa workers to the United States. All those things are going to be stopped according to the Twitter announcement last night by President Trump. We don't yet have the exact executive order. Supposedly it wasn't even being drafted yet by the DHS folks. And like many things, he tended to jump the gun on it. What we understand so far today is that farm workers and medical field workers will be exempted from the executive order, and they will still be allowed to immigrate or visit the United States. After all, we wouldn't want our food supply disrupted, even though we want to keep everybody else out, because I'm sure they're safe. The president has authority under Section 212F of the Immigration Nationality Act to halt any foreign national or any group of foreign nationals from coming to the United States. This has historically been interpreted to mean a small group of people, or most recently in the context of the Muslim bans, entire countries of people. It has never been used in its entire history since 1952 to stop everyone from coming to the United States. Now, keep in mind, there's already an order in place from the director of the CDC allowing the Border Patrol to send back anybody at the border who doesn't have legal documents. They no longer have court hearings. They no longer can apply for asylum. They're simply literally escorted back across the border in a matter of hours with no due process whatsoever. And that's pursuant to an order of the CDC director, which he just renewed today, which was extended till May 20th. So much for reopening America. This order by the president, however, last night announcement to be made perhaps tomorrow, in fact, it's not really any real change from what has been going on for the last month. What this executive order really means is that the immigration service in the United States is not affected. This order is pursuant to 212F of the Immigration Nationality Act, which applies to consulates. So that means our consulates have been closed for 30 days. They are not issuing visas. They are not interviewing people for green cards and get immigrant visas to come to the U.S. And most consulates have not been doing this for over a month. This executive order simply puts into place something that's de facto been going on for the last 30 days. Now, we don't know how long the president will continue it, and maybe he'll continue it until the election because in many ways it is an election tool for him. But at the end of the day, the question is it legal? Can 212F be read to include everything? Chief Justice Roberts, in writing for the court in Hawaii versus Trump, said that 212F was an exceptionally large power, but it wasn't limitless. So we will see what Chief Justice Roberts has to say about this when this case appears before him. I'm going to assume, and I know what happens when we assume, but I'm going to assume that within a couple of hours of the executive order being written, that a number of immigration lawyers and groups around the country will file for preliminary injunctions against the executive order. My guess is that most of these will be filed in jurisdictions that will likely be favorable to getting a ruling that stops the executive order from taking into effect, and an injunction will be then put into place. It will then quickly go to the Court of Appeals in that district, and will then quickly go to the Supreme Court. And I suspect that within a month to 45 days, we will be having oral arguments on the Supreme Court on both the scope and the ability of the president to issue an order this broad. Now, what does this mean for people who are waiting abroad for interviews? They're waiting for their green card interview. They've been sponsored by their son. They've been sponsored by their parent. They've been sponsored by their wife. All those are put on hold. So if you were a U.S. citizen watching this and you are waiting for your wife to come, she's not coming. Not until this is resolved. Those particular petitions are barred. This mostly impacts family-based immigration. Now, keep in mind, family-based immigration is what President Trump wanted the Senate to cut by 50% in order to get DACA approved 2 years ago. So this is nothing that surprises any immigration lawyer in America. We've been waiting and biding our time for him to use and overstep his authority in this power. But if you're angry about it, you might want to call your senator and say, what are you going to do to let me get my wife into the United States? This is going to stop that from happening. Now, at the same time, it will also stop people from getting visas issued abroad. So if an employer is waiting for an H-1B worker to come or an extraordinary ability worker to come, they will not be able to come. The two exceptions are farm workers and doctors, nurses, other healthcare professionals. Apparently, those will be accepted. We want them to come. We don't want anybody else to come. President's using the really worn out argument that they're going to come take jobs from Americans. And it's been proven countless times that immigrants don't take jobs from Americans. They certainly do jobs Americans won't do. But the reality is immigration creates jobs for Americans. Ask the 50% of the Silicon Valley companies founded by immigrants over the last 20 years. What does this mean for people inside the United States? If you're changing your status from a student to an H-1B, that will go forward. Immigration is still working. Immigration is still approving green cards. Legal immigration that the president has authority of under Section 212 applies outside the United States. He cannot stop legal immigration inside the United States. So if you're here and you're applying for a green card through your wife or your husband, you're applying the green cards for your kids or through your parents, that will still move forward. You're applying for a green card through work, that will still go forward. You're applying for an H-1B visa, that will still go forward. All those things are still processing. Now, it looks like we may have a comment here. Let's take a look at this. Oh, this is from Frank Wistris. Thanks for being so on the ball. I appreciate that. I really do. What we want to do is make sure that our clients get all of the information they need so they can make wise decisions. Now, we're going to have a lot more coming up. Is when we get more information later today, we're going to have a broadcast on a bigger topic because other things have been happening. But we wanted to get this broadcast out right away so you have the information available to you to make wise decisions. You can put comments below. You can reach us at 404-816-8611. You can call your lawyer or your paralegal here at the firm. What we're going to tell you mostly is we don't have all the answers. But the reality is if you're here, you're okay. So don't panic. Don't get upset. If you're a citizen, vote. We'll be in touch later this week. This is Chuck Cook, Managing Partner, Cook Baxter Immigration, always on the immigrant side. Talk to you later.